Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I have a new look because I've cut my hair, and in the upcoming few videos I will have my long hair because I filmed those videos in the past month, and I was just taking my time to edit and upload them, but I'm uploading this video first because it is May already and I have to put my April reads every time. That's why you will see my longer hair in the next few videos. I really hope you like them because they are really nice ones. Also, if you hear any sort of disturbing noises, they are because of the traffic, and I am sitting by my window which is very near to the road, so that's why you can hear a lot of traffic noises. Let's move on to the main agenda of this video, which is April reads. So this April I read 5 books, and out of them 3 are paperbacks and the remaining 2 are ebooks. The first read of April was If You Could See the Sun by Anne Liang. This was a really good read and I rated it a 5 out of 5. It is a book that I would definitely go back to, and I would also like to read the other books that are a part of Anne Liang's work. It is not necessarily a series, but it revolves around the same sort of universe. So this book has 2 main characters, Alice Sun and Henry Lee. This was also my first Anne Liang book, which is why it was very special. While I was reading this book, I had songs associated to these 2 main characters because of the vibe they were giving off throughout the book. So Alice was giving off the vibe of This Is Me Trying by Taylor Swift, and Henry was giving off the vibe of Labyrinth by Taylor Swift. So Alice is a very academically bright student as well as Henry, and both of them are academic rivals. But then Alice is basically a scholarship student that is a part of their school, and Henry is a rich student who is a part of that school. So as a scholarship student, Alice has to face many difficulties in paying the fees and her living expenses. So that's why she is about to get out of the school. She's the kind of person who is very much into academics, and she has little to no friends, remains unseen throughout the school, and she is a very big people pleaser because of the relationships that she tries to keep with her teachers as well. There are themes of that. She's also a perfectionist with certain morals, which is why there are certain actions that she takes with a certain type of thought behind them. So that is the sort of introduction for Alice. So what happens with Alice is that one day she just turns invisible, and she turns to Henry for help about this invisibility because she does not have any other friend, and she thought that Henry was the person who could provide her with the best solution for this issue. So later on she thought of a plan of using this invisibility as a sort of tool to gain more money to pay for her tuition and her living expenses. So both of them think of developing an app called Beijing Ghost, and Henry basically helps her develop that app, and she is basically going to do anonymous assignments, anonymous tasks that are given by people throughout the school. And yeah, that was basically the main storyline of the book. The main themes that this book delves around are the themes of privilege and the themes of dreams and how much it costs to actually fulfill your dreams, that you have to sacrifice a lot. It also delves around the themes of invisibility and how sometimes you think no one is seeing you, but there is someone out there who sees you completely. In the themes of privilege in society, it has been shown as a pretty light theme, I think, in terms of realisticness. The theme of privilege that has been depicted is a bit unrealistic compared to how we see privilege in real life, but it is a good introduction for young adults to delve into and see how even fictional characters can have these sort of problems. Let's delve into my second read for this month, and that is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. So I was told a lot about this book. I had read a lot of reviews online. I was recommended it a lot online, and it is basically one of the classics that you should read. And especially for girls, it is said that every girl should read this classic, which is The Bell Jar. And this was also my first Sylvia Plath work. When I was saying that I am going to be experimenting with a lot of genres, I did not lie. I have been experimenting with new authors and new genres, and it's basically like a whole new world that I'm discovering. So, yeah, this book was frankly disappointing. The amount that I expected because of Sylvia Plath's name and her reputation in the literature world. And yeah, it was frankly quite disappointing, and I have to say this work was a 2 out of 5 stars for me. I would not revisit it. Although the metaphors that were used in some places, for example, the famous fig paragraph, even that paragraph was not sufficient enough to make me forget about the other gaps that are there throughout this book. The writing is not that special, it is very mediocre and something that you can discover in every other author. So, delving into the story delves around this main character, Esther, and she has friends around her, and she has all kinds of people around her, and it's basically the way of her life, and it's basically showing various stages of her life. And some people who are suffering with depression claim that this book shows like a very nice or perfect imagery of people who suffer with depression, especially girls. And some people also say that this book is a depiction of the emotions that one feels while they're on their journey to, sort of delve into depression. And yeah, I thought that part was untrue. I thought that Esther is a character with a lot of sadness in her life, and I think that she is already in depression. I think that she is a very self-indulgent character with a lot of lack of self-awareness. And this book was also published in the second half of the 20th century, which is why there are a lot of themes of homophobia and racism which are very apparent. Like, you won't have to look for it. Racism is very apparent throughout the book, and there are some parts which depict how there's homophobia in the book as well, and in Esther's head and the author's head. I was also thinking of how the character of Esther is a sort of a character which shows sociopathic tendencies, and in the end she just ends up processing her emotions in a sort of private recluse. It was also kind of ironic how she had a lot of these problems with her love interests, but she never really ended up talking to them about it, and she just kept all of these problems to herself, and then she herself just kept feeling sad about it. I just think that all of the problems and issues that she was facing in her life were because of the problems that she was actually creating herself. You can also go ahead and read this book to sort of understand the criticism behind this book. And yeah, let's move on to the next one. The next book that I read is Balzac and the Little Chinese Seamstress, and this book is written by Dai Sijian. This book is based around the time of 1971, where China was facing a cultural revolution, and a lot of the students were sent to re-education camps in the villages because it was believed that Western education is sort of no use, and the real education is to be learned in the fields. So the people of China at that time were under the impression that people with Western education and basically all the Westerners are sort of the bourgeoisie class in terms of Asia and the sort of exploitation mindset that they worked with. And that's why this book has a heavy criticism of people who are with the Westerners. And there are a lot of characters in this book, but there is only one character with a name, and that is also a surname in Chinese, which is Luo. And even the narrator of this book is unnamed. So in the story, there is a romanticized a lot. Basically, the narrator knows how to play a violin, and one of the village people asks him to play a piece, and all he knows is Mozart. And he tries to play a piece by Mozart, hoping that no one recognizes that it's his piece. And once no one recognizes it, they lie to the villagers saying that this was a piece written in praise of Chairman Mao. So this is something that they did to escape the criticism by the patriots. And the narrator is also someone who has been surrounded by these themes of patriotism, and he is sort of someone who is open to the Western ideas and who sort of even likes the Western ideas of innovation and sort of expanding his worldview. So there is another main character that has been introduced in the book later on. So both of these men basically fall in love with the seamstress, and by these men I mean the narrator and his friend Luo. And the book, I won't delve into too many details of what happens in the story exactly, but basically the seamstress is a kind of person who has always been objectified, and the kind of love that both of them show for the seamstress is also a kind of love that is very unfeminist. And that is kind of weird because both of the main characters like the idea of westernization, and it's just kind of odd that the idea of feminism was not inside their heads, and it's sort of working with convenience. And by that I mean that their ideas are just associated with the convenience that the world provides them. So if they want to learn sort of Western education because they think that it's easier, they are delving towards that path. But then in a position where they think that a romantic relationship is to be considered, then they'll be more on the conservative side. So yeah, that was kind of weird and yeah, odd that I saw. For me, this book was mainly about the personal freedom of this little seamstress, and in the beginning she was very confused as to what she would want to do in the future and what she wants to do in the future. But later on throughout the story, she discovers her own personal freedom, her own personal choices. She realizes what her identity is and is en route to self-empowerment. And there is a very big decision that she takes in the end, and that is to leave the village and go to the city and work in the city. So yeah, I think she had the best endings out of all of the characters in the book, and both of the narrators were actually sort of ended with the same amount of thinking. They didn't really realize the idea of feminism as much. This was, I think, all in all, a good story and sort of a good depiction of the thinking of the people during that time. The next two books that I read are King of Envy by Anna Huang and Watch Me by Tahirih Mafi, which were introduced literally last month. So King of Envy just came out on 29th of April and I read it in like one day. And I just have to say that Anna Huang's books are getting worse with her releases. And the last book that I looked forward to was King of Sloth after reading King of Greed. And basically these are a part of the 7 Kings of Sin series, and it's just not for me. And yeah, I will stop with this era now. I am not looking forward to King of Gluttony with the kind of story that she has written in King of Envy. I am sick of seeing any more weak female characters, and I'm just done with it. So yeah, I will not be entertaining that sort of genre any longer. I have discovered a more sort of vast literature group and I will not delve into it. It was a 1 star for me. The last book that I read was Watch Me by Tahirih Mafi, and this is basically a continuation of the Shatter Me series but with new characters, one of which is James. And James was basically a younger character in the whole Shatter Me series, and now he's grown up. I basically read this book for the Shatami characters because they were in this book as well, and I was reading this book for Aaron and Jules and Kenji Kishimoto. And yeah, that's why I give this book a 3 stars. I personally don't even care about what the story was happening. I just care about their appearances, and they had really nice appearances. So yeah, I was left very impressed. And yeah, that was my April reads. Before I end this video, I just wanted to bring to notice books that I want to read in the month of May. One of them is The Night Circus. I have already started reading it and I have read, I think, this much. And yeah, I'll also finish this book this month. I also got done with Exam, and I read Exam halfway in April and I finished it in May. Then I also want to read Bunny in the month of May. I am hoping that I have time because we have our end semester exams. But yeah, if I do read it, you will get an update. And the last book that I want to finally finish is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. And yeah, I really want to get done with this book. I was getting quite bored and I literally have read this much. I want to delve more. I really like the character and the sort of writing she has in this book, but I was just not ready for it back then. Now I think I'm ready for it. And yeah, I just want to finish this book as soon as possible. So that's all for this video. I really hope you liked it. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.